Welcome to another episode of Life in Sports Spotlight with Cameron Knox. Sorry, it's been a few weeks. With school, but finals is now over for me. I can officially, get back to this weekly, especially as football trickles down in both um college football and NFL. College football has expanded its playoff field to 12 teams. So we'll be talking about that, and then the NFL getting ready for, it's crunch time, playoff time, within the next few weeks. I think there's about four games each for everyone. So, yeah, it's getting down to the time. This this season kind of flew by. I remember starting, the talks of NFL and college, like my first couple weeks of school, and now it's already over. But yeah, let's get straight into it. So obviously, like we mentioned college football. Congratulate the winners of the Big Ten, Oregon, SEC, Georgia, ACC, Clemson, Mountain West, Boise State, Big 12, ASU. So they're all in the playoffs. They're all going to compete for the national championship in Atlanta, Georgia. And I think it's January 20th is the national championship date. Obviously it's usually like beginning of January, like mid-January, when it happens. But since they expanded, added eight more teams, I believe. Yeah. So, the matchups are set. I mean, the first round is set with the four teams getting buys. Big Ten winner, Oregon get the number one seed, Georgia, SEC, number two seed, Boise State, the three seed, and then Arizona State, the four seed. So to start on the top of the bracket, Texas and Clemson will play December 21st. Uh, it'll be a home game for Texas. I can't imagine, you know, Texas really getting an extra home game and losing it. But this is what all the playoffs is all about, upsets, going into unfamiliar territory, and just really competing for what is going to get you to a national championship. Um, I know Texas has really kind of struggled against Georgia in the two matchups. I think they should have won the SEC championship. They had no business losing that game, but just, I think Georgia, Kirby Smart is a tougher coach maybe than Steve Sarkisian, had those guys more prepared, but we'll see. I know Dabo Sweeney is a good coach, national championship coach. So he's going to have his team ready as well. So that's going to be a fun game. The winner of that will play Arizona State in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Um, it's kind of crazy having bowl games at the where the national championship is going to be played. I know the Peach Bowl, Georgia. So Arizona State could win that game, or Texas, Clemson, whoever wins that game will go on to the semifinals. Then if they make it to like someone in that game could possibly go back and play in the Mercedes-Benz stadium, which is crazy to me to think how a bowl game is going to also be played where the national championship is going to be played. Um, then the next matchup, Tennessee, Ohio State, uh, in Columbus, Ohio. That's probably the best looking um first round matchup because the 8-9, Ohio State being 8, Tennessee being 9, SEC, Big Ten, two teams that, were really good in their conference, but just didn't make the conference championship. I think or Ohio State gets in if they could find a way to beat Michigan. But that's neither here or there to say for me at least. But um, Ohio State has looked really shaky. I think they have the team that could compete to win a national championship. Obviously, it's just all on the play of Will Howard. I think he was a great addition, but he has struggled recently as of late. So I really hope he could turn things around, especially because Tennessee has a really good defense. Tennessee has a really good run game that I know Ohio State is going to try to stop. Um, because if they turn Tennessee really into a passing team, I know they could probably feel like they've succeeded because of the good running back that they have with Dylan Sampson. So I really like this matchup. Um, Probably the best one, like I said, in the first round. And then the winner of that game will go to Oregon and play in the Rose Bowl. Uh, I know we would all love to see a rematch of Oregon Ohio State. I know I would, especially in the Rose Bowl. And, me being from California, I'm going to try to get to that game for sure. If, in general, I'm going to try to get to the Rose Bowl, even if they play Tennessee. I just really want to see Oregon, uh, you know, a team that really struggled early in the year, barely beating Idaho, Boise State really came into Oregon and really played a really phenomenal game against them as well. Um, but yeah, Oregon flipped it around. Dan Lanning has those guys going, and I really love to see the tough road that Oregon has because they got put in the crazy side of the bracket. Really, they're gonna have to beat a really good Ohio State or Tennessee team, a Texas team, if that gets to a point. Arizona State, Clemson, like they got a tough bracket for sure. The next matchup, SMU at Penn State. SMU, everyone, how everyone believes that it should have been Alabama. SMU deserved it, blah, 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 blah. The strength of schedule. Like we all get that conversation, but SMU really did deserve, I think, this spot. 11-2 team. The strength of schedule, it plays a factor, yes, but if you think about it, Alabama lost to a a very bad Oklahoma team at Oklahoma, yes, but they had no business losing that game by 21 points, I believe. They lost to Vanderbilt. Then, they lost to Tennessee, who's in the college playoffs. So two teams that did not even sniff the playoffs, really, they lose two games to. So, I mean, SMU, their two losses is Clemson in the ACC championship, and then a BYU team that was undefeated to a point where, they almost got in. If it's an extended field again, they get in BYU, but you know, I think SMU really deserved it. They played, if they don't play that SEC championship game against Clemson, they get in, because they only have one loss. And we wouldn't be arguing it. Alabama wasn't close to a SEC championship game, obviously. I mean, SEC, yeah, SEC championship game. Yeah, so SMU, um, I mean, Penn State really looked good against Oregon. It was kind of a battle late. Um, I really like the way they play. They're a good team. Um, I can't wait to see all these games, but this one I won't say is an upset, possibly, but SMU has played really well um, ever since they switched quarterbacks to Jennings. Um, they have a phenomenal offense, so I can't wait to see them play against a tough physical Penn State team. And then the winner of that game will go to Boise State and play in the Fiesta Bowl. Then next, Indiana, Notre Dame, two Indiana teams. Um, gonna be in South Bend. They're both two 11-1 teams going against each other. Um, Indiana's only loss being to Ohio State, Notre Dame to a team that they should have blew out. So it sucks. They should probably be the fifth seed. They probably get the fifth seed if they don't lose that game because they can't get a bye because they are not in a conference. So Notre Dame, they've really, ever since that loss, they really haven't had a game where we thought they could lose again. USC, that's a rivalry game. That was a little shootout, and then the two pick sixes kind of put that game away for them. Um, but honestly, um, I really like Notre Dame. I think they could probably go out and beat Indiana and go. And then they go play Georgia, and I think they could really compete with Georgia, especially with, the offense of Georgia not really looking, uh, being uncertain because Carson Beck got hurt in the SEC championship game, with the UCL issue. So we don't know. Notre Dame could really go out and go beat Georgia in a Sugar Bowl. That'd be, a big program win for Notre Dame, especially Marcus Freeman. I wasn't a big fan of him, but I think, as I watch him kind of do interviews and look at stuff from him, I think I really have changed my opinion on him. Marcus Freeman, um, I think him replacing Brian Kelly has been good for that program, and I can't wait to see all these matchups. You know, it's all about it's all about, who wants it more. These home games, is a bit of advantage because you get your fans, but we'll see. I love to see these matchups. I really think Oregon could win it all, even though they have the toughest path. Um, but I think they're built to win right now, this national championship, the way they're playing. I love to see it. And then on to um, the Heisman. Heisman will be announced Saturday. The nominees, candidates, whatever you want to call it, Ashton Genty, Travis Hunter, Dylan Gabriel, and then Cam Ward from Miami. So Cam Ward, Miami, Dylan Gabriel is Oregon's quarterback, Ashton Genty, Boise State's running back, um, and then Travis Hunter, the playmaker, the two-way demon. Yeah, I think we all know at this point, Travis Hunter is going to win. Um, but everyone talks about the competition and who Boise State plays and who Travis Hunter plays, but I really don't see a difference. You know, I can't compare the Oregon game because Travis Hunter didn't play against Oregon last year when they were both in the Pac-12. But Ashton Genty, what he did to Oregon, you know, the number one team, he 190. I can't remember how many touchdowns, but he played a phenomenal game. And that was their probably, their the best team they played. UNLV, he went off against. They played twice. But I mean, the way I look at it, uh, I think Ashton Genty should win. I I think it's gonna be closer than expected, but I know Travis Hunter will win. Um, but Travis Hunter had two down games. One he kind of got hurt in. The next game he was battling, still back from that injury. Genty didn't have any down games, but they saved the competition, which, I don't think you should demote from that. College football is college football. Division One is Division One. They all play Division One football. They're all, getting paid to go to school and all receiving NIL and all that. But I really I don't think there's no but the competition conversation. They're playing JV players is what someone told me. I I don't believe that. You know, if you really think about it, what what Ashton Genty was doing against UNLV, a UNLV team, the same UNLV team that beat Kansas. You want to know who lost to Kansas? Colorado. Yes, Travis Hunter put up those numbers, I can't remember the numbers against Kansas, but they lost, you know, and that's my argument. I really think Ashton Genty should get it. Um, I really think he's deserving. They're both deserving. Don't get me wrong. They're all four candidates are deserving of Heisman. Especially Cam Ward is a sleeper. I really wish this conversation was more Cam Ward versus Ashton Genty, but when Cam Ward kind of lost those two games to Syracuse and I can't remember the other team, it kind of put him to the side. Dylan Gabriel's 13-0. He's being a phenomenal field general for that Oregon offense, who's undefeated and won two big games, Penn State, Ohio State. Um, yeah, I really think they're all deserving candidates. Um, I'll be watching Saturday. But whoever wins is deserving. I'm happy I get to watch all these players. Especially they're all going to go to the NFL this season. This 2025 draft is going to be fun to watch and are going to have bright NFL careers. So yeah. Um, that brings me to the NFL. Yes, I usually do pick'ems, but I won't pick all games this week just with the time crunch I'm in right now. Um, but yeah, NFL has been really, really, really crazy. Not really unpredictable. There's not been any big like wins from teams, just teams that, continuing to dominate, continuing to get wins, trying to get in the playoffs. Um, I think a surprising team that we all thought was gonna be better is the Cincinnati Bengals. They won last week against, Monday night in Dallas. That was a big win for them to kind of get some momentum going into these last few games that they have. Um, but they've struggled, losing to the Steelers, losing to some teams that, you think they could probably beat up on, but it just doesn't happen, especially Mike Tomlin, December football, especially with the grueling scheduling the Steelers got in these next few weeks. They had to go win that game in Cincinnati as well. Um, so yeah, getting into the big games, Thursday night football, 49ers and Rams in San Fran. They're both, still in the mix. They're still in the mix to that NFC West. It's not over yet. Seattle's in the lead at 8-5. Uh, Niners at 6-7. I think they're both at six. No, I think the 49ers are, yeah, 6-7, and then the Rams are 7-6. Big win at home against Buffalo last week really got them that little extra win, and then obviously the 49ers and Rams play two times a year, and the Rams won the first matchup in LA. So that's the really game that's over them. 49ers are banged up, don't get me wrong. A lot of injuries, but I think they could really compete with this Rams team because it's just a division game. You know, you're going to pull out your best pieces to compete with your rivals, and it's going to be a fun game. Thursday night football. Uh, I can't. It's hard to pick a winner, but I think I'm gonna go Rams based off of they know what they need to get to the playoffs. Puka Nacua has been phenomenal. Matt Stafford has been playing really good football. Uh, Cooper Kupp has really been playing good. Howard Williams has, not as effective as he was last year, but he's still getting the touchdowns. So the production, not as much, but he's getting the opportunities to score still. So that's big for them. Just, finishing drives and scoring with your best running back. Puka Nacua had a field day last week against the Bills. He's really a bright spot in that young Rams team that's rebuilding and getting ready for the future after when Matt Stafford's going to be done soon. Cooper Kupp is aging. But yeah, I really like that Rams team. 49ers, they're just too banged up. No Trent Williams for the past few weeks. Tre'Davious Ward is back, but still struggling a bit. Um, Christian McCaffrey is out for the year. Um, just a lot of stuff. He comes back. Really that Buffalo game, he was looking like, he was going to have a great game. And you get one banged up knee, one bang to the snow, and he's out. And, that's unfortunate for Niners because, they were having a good year. To the point where they were getting their players back and they were playing some good football. So that sucks. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go Rams. Then on to Sunday, Texans Dolphins. Texans at home. We all talk about how the Dolphins struggle in cold weather and they can't, play under 30 degrees or whatever the case may be. But this is an indoor game. It's going to be, you know, in a dome, and I think Tua has really flipped the script. That win last week in at home against the Jets was really big win for them to really keep them in playoff talks. He was out for a while. They're 6-7, second in the AFC East. But as we trickle down, the Ravens, the Broncos, the Chargers, uh, Colts, if you want to put them, Dolphins, like those teams are still in the hunt to make the playoffs. And I really think Dolphins, keep leaning on the run game with H-Hand and then just dishing out the ball. Jonnu Smith, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, obviously. Like if you continue to lean on them, I think the Dolphins can win that game. Texans in a not as good conference division right now. So they're probably going to win that division as just being the best team from that division and make it to the playoffs. But I think the Dolphins, that's a scary team to get into the playoffs. But just getting into the playoffs it's going to be good for them, but it's going to just suck because they're probably going to go to like a Buffalo or Pittsburgh or whoever wins the AFC North really, or Buffalo's already in, but they're going to have to go to maybe one of those places and play in the cold where they struggle. So that'd be, tough to see, but I know it'll be a tough get in the playoffs, especially with the way Tua's been playing. Tyreek Hill's been getting back to himself. The defense has really been good with Jalen Ramsey, um, and those guys. So we'll see. That'll be a good game. As well as Eagles Steelers. Eagles at home. This is the start of the gauntlet for the Steelers. Playing 3 games in about 10, 11 days. Eagles, Ravens, Chiefs. Uh, you know, if they drop this game, it will suck. Yes, I hope they win so they could clinch, get into the playoffs, and we, be set with that. We know we're in the playoffs. Um, Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, a little scuffle, not, internally that kind of got into the public eye. I really don't think it's anything. I know there has been some past issues between the two, but I think they're two captains, two leaders of that team who's gonna do everything to fix their issues, and it could start this weekend. Hopefully not, but I know they're the second best team in the NFC. They're a really good team. They've been playing good ball. Saquon Barkley has been the offensive player of the year. Him and Derrick Henry. So I know that that'll be a good matchup. Looking forward, George Pickens is probably gonna be out. He's been out. He didn't play last week against the Browns. It's a problem for us because I'm scared that we may not be able to compete. But I hope we can. I hope Mike Williams can step up and really be a key piece. But yeah, I hope the Steelers win. I know the Steelers will win. They haven't won in Philly in a very long time, but I think it's time to change the narratives because Russell Wilson has been playing phenomenal. Dishing the ball to Pat Fryermuth, getting the ball to the outside in the seams. Like Jalen Warren has been phenomenal in the past game, screen game. And then Najee just breaking you down. I really love that matchup, and the Steelers will win in Philly. Broncos, Colts, like I mentioned, two teams still battling to get in that wild card, getting a wild card seed. Chiefs already winning the Broncos division, they all they can do is get in from wild card. Um, and they've really played good. They were in a shootout with the Browns last week, a couple weeks ago. I can't quite remember who they played last week. Oh, they were on a bye. So they were on a bye last week, after the Monday night game where, it was a shootout. But Jameis Winston threw the 2 pick sixes, I believe, and then the pick to end the game. So the Broncos defense has really looked good, and I'm going to continue to say that they really changed it around. Riley Moss was out, so I think that's a key factor on why Browns put up as many points as they did because they were attacked Levi Wallace, who was god awful and probably won't be on an NFL team after this season. But for depth issues, I know I get that's why he's there. But that's going to be a big game. Two teams that could get into the wild card in Denver. I really like Broncos. Colts just don't really move me. They did beat the Steelers earlier in the year. Um, but Anthony Richardson has looked good a little bit since he got his job back. But I just think Broncos win. Um, but we'll see. That's going to be a good game. Then for the game of the week, um, Lions, Bills. Bills coming off that loss. Lions coming off a Thursday night win against Green Bay, their division rival. Um, Buffalo's a really good team. They're both really good teams, both, top two in their, conferences, AFC, NFC. Number one in the NFC, the Lions. Number two in the AFC, the Bills. I really can't imagine um like I want to say Bills aren't going to lose two games in a row after losing to LA, the Rams. But the two toughest places, okay, SoFi is not really a tough place to play, but just that atmosphere and being so far away from Buffalo is what I mean, kind of. But really, really, the the toughest place for sure, Detroit to play, especially since they've been winning games the past few seasons. Um, it's going to be tough, but Josh Allen is on another level right now. He's playing MVP football. Um, Lions are banged up, but they always find a way to win. It's going to be a game. It's going to be a offense versus defense. Obviously, like just who's gonna make a mistake, who's gonna miss an assignment, who's gonna do something that's gonna win you that game. Bills have a phenomenal defense, and Lions have a phenomenal offense. So that's gonna be the difference. If Lions can score points like they've been scoring points on that Bills defense. Lions defense, like I mentioned, is shaking up. That's what's really hurting them. Uh, that's gonna be a good game, really good game. I think the Lions win solely based off it being in Detroit. If it was in Buffalo, I think Buffalo wins because Detroit really just they're crazy in domes. They're in their dome. They haven't played many games outside of a dome. They played at Houston. They played in Detroit, obviously that has a dome. Going to Minnesota, who has a dome. The really outside games that they've played is Green Bay. I think is the only game so far. They're going to go to San Francisco in a couple weeks. They're going to go to Chicago, but Lions in the dome, I can't go against them. That's a really good, crazy team. And then the last game I'm going to hit Seattle Packers. Um, so Seahawks versus the Packers in Seattle. Packers got to get that game back. I think they really should have beat the Lions. This will be a good game in Seattle, but I think Packers win. They got to get that game back that they lost. And I know all the NFC other teams will really love if Seattle lost, with them being 8-5 and them being like 6, 7-6, 6-7, all in that range. I know they would love for that team, Seattle, to lose. But I think Green Bay, the NFC North is really the tightest division with the three uh really juggernauts, Lions, Vikings, Packers. Um, those are, three good teams that all three teams might are probably going to get in the playoffs. Obviously as wild cards. The Packers and Vikings because Lions already clinched the division, I believe. I can't remember actually. Let me check that to make sure. Okay, they have not won the division yet. Oh, because Vikings are 11-2, so they could lose a game. And yeah. So they have not clinched the division yet, but they've clinched the playoffs because they're that number one seed so far, being 12-1. But yeah, that game is going to be really good. Um, I can't wait to watch Jordan Love go against a Mike McDonald defense. That Ravens defense that he had last year was really good, and they've really started to get things going in Seattle on the defensive side. Offensive side, we all know, with DK Metcalf and Jackson Smith-Njigba, Tyler Lockett. Zach Charbonnet. Kenneth Walker has been out dealing with an injury, but that Seattle offense has always looked good this season. Gino has really come into himself past few years, and looked like, the guy who came out of West Virginia. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap up this episode. As the NFL season and college football season comes to a close, as it's bowl season for college football, I'm gonna try to get some guests. Courtney will be back. She's on vacation right now. Lucky for her. So she got to take some time off away from, her job and things like that. But me, I was not on vacation. I was just tending to school, sadly. But yeah, um, can't wait to get more episodes out to you guys. Trying to get guests, gonna, get that back going. Um, that's gonna be fun. Um, especially, being a small podcast and really having a lot of connections um through people and athletes. So that'll be fun. I hope you guys continue to support, like, comment, share, subscribe. Um, you know, really watch these episodes and enjoy them. Talk football. I know we're gonna, hit more sports at, excuse me, as these go away and the season's end, but we'll see. Thank you guys for watching and see you guys next week.